How's it going, YouTube? Welcome back to your favorite aviation channel. We have a massive video for you all today. As you can see, it's another model aircraft collection update. My goal from here on out is to do one of these videos at the end of each year going forward. So get one of these videos out on December 31st of each year, just to kind of recap the collection's progress over the previous year, basically. Of course, 2022 just concluded. I wasn't able to get this video out by December 31st of 2022. Mainly because I was busy with my winter course that I've been taking over the past 3 or so weeks. I recently finished that course a few days ago, so I'm now on my last week of winter break, so I have some downtime to both prepare for the upcoming semester, which begins next week, and then also get some videos out like this. So better late than never, I guess. The setup here, as you can see, it's pretty much the same as last year's video. It's 2 tables, and all the aircraft that I have in my current collection, they are all displayed here across these 2 tables. So currently the collection stands at 232 models. That's an increase from 225 last year. Technically, I'm in possession of 254 models, but 22 of them I am planning to sell. So those 22 planes are not included in this video. And I'll give more information about which models I'm selling, this and that, at a later time, not in this video. But the 22 planes that I am planning to get rid of, they are not in this video. So there's 232 that you'll see in this video. The breakdown is 218 models from 1/400 scale, 8 from 1/200 scale, 3 from 1/250 scale, and then I have 1 each from 1/150, 1/500, and 1/46 scales. So the top 5 airlines in the collection: United is number 1 at 36 planes, American Airlines is number 2 at 34 planes, Pakistan International Airlines (PIA) is number 3 at 16. Not far behind is Qatar Airways at number 4 with 15 planes, and close to that, number 5 is Delta Airlines with 14 planes. Those are the top 5 airlines represented in my collection. The top 5 countries in my collection represented here: of course, number 1 is the United States of America with 123 planes. Number 2 is Pakistan with 22 planes. Number 3 is Qatar with 15. Number 4 is the UAE, the United Arab Emirates, with 12 planes. And number 5 is the UK, the United Kingdom, with 6 planes. So compared to last year, the collection is a bit bigger. Like I said, it's 232 planes compared to 225 last year. In last year's video, we had 62 airlines representing 37 countries. This year, unfortunately, it is a bit less than that. We have 61 airlines now representing 33 countries. So still pretty significant. One of the more diverse collections on YouTube for sure. And yeah, that's what it is right now. The total value of the collection, very big underestimate. It's probably around $12,000 minimum. It's definitely way more than that. But as a nice kind of benchmark, $12,000 is what we're looking at here as the minimum value of the entire collection. So yeah, the collection has grown compared to last year. In some aspects it has kind of decreased, but in overall the quantity of models has definitely increased compared to last year. So let's go ahead and get the video started. Don't want to make this too long. Last year it was like 52 minutes, so I hope it doesn't take that long this time. But yeah, without any further delay, let's begin. So if you've seen my previous 2 collection updates, you might know that the way I like to set things up is that, of course, I group all the models together based on airline, and then the airlines themselves I group together based on geographic location. So right here we have North America, Central America, that kind of area here, merging into Europe, and then furthermore into Asia back there. I had an entire spare row. As you can see down there at the end, I had a lot of space so I could put all my bigger models. Compared to last year, I wasn't able to do that. The smaller models were taking up the entirety of both tables, so I had to shoot a separate clip for the bigger planes. This year, thankfully, the entire collection I was able to fit somehow across both tables, so I can do everything all at once, which is really, really nice. So in total, these 2 tables took me about an hour to set up all the models. It was kind of hard at first because, you know, you have to get the angle right, make sure everything is set up properly so it just flows nicely, if you get what I mean. But at the end of the day, it worked out perfectly. It looks really, really nice. I'm happy with how the setup turned out. I didn't even plan this, but you have stuff like right here where Qatar Airways has an entire row to themselves. I didn't plan on it being that way, but it just worked out so perfectly. And yeah, it's really cool how that played out. But enough talk here. Let's get started with the update. We will begin with my American Airlines fleet, North America. So I feel like every single collection update that I've done so far, I always end up starting with American Airlines. So maybe that's something I'll continue doing moving forward. But yeah, American Airlines, the second biggest airline in my collection with 34 planes. 32 of them are 1/400 scale, and then the remaining 2 are the bigger 1/200 scale. So we'll start off right here with this 777-300ER by Gemini Jets. This is the 2019 release. Registration November 735 Alpha Tango. Very special model to me, as I actually flew this exact same plane from Dallas to Hong Kong in 2019. I've always mentioned that in previous videos, but yeah, very special model. I've been on it in real life. I sat one of those seats over the wing there. So long flight, like 17 something hours. Unfortunately, that flight no longer exists. American doesn't fly to Hong Kong anymore. It used to be their longest route, DFW to Hong Kong, but nowadays, because that route is cut, DFW to Auckland, which they recently began last month, that's their new longest flight. So there are 8 such models in my collection that are planes that I've like actually flown on the exact tail number, if you get what I mean. I have 8 of those, I think. Of course, I've been on a bunch of these planes in real life, but there's 8 such planes, 8 such models that are of like the exact registration that I flew on. So I'll be sure to note those as we move along with when I flew it and what route it was. So that's the first one, DFW Hong Kong 2019. It was pretty cool. Next up is the OG. This was the first ever American Airlines new livery release, I believe ever, by Gemini Jets and also by any model company back in 2013. 2013 777-300ER. This is registration November 718 Alpha November. So yeah, so that was the first new livery plane I ever got from American, along with many other people who also bought this model. Next up is the 2020 Gemini Jets 777-200ER. It's registration 797AN. And then we have the sister ship 796AN. This is the 2015 release, the One World livery. And then we have 775AN, which is the 2013 Gemini Jets release. Over here we have 781, November 781 Alpha November. This is in the chrome, the old livery, the beautiful chrome livery that I miss very much. This is one of the more recent models I've added. I got this a few months ago for a very, very good deal. It was like $25 something off Midwest Model Store. They were doing like a scratch and dent collection sale. So basically any models that are somewhat damaged, they discount them pretty heavily. So I got this for $25, which is a really good deal considering it's a somewhat rare model. A bunch of these American chrome models are harder and harder to find these days. So it does have some paint chips you might be able to see there on the nose, kind of. I don't want to pick it up because it'll mess things up, but there's they're kind of noticeable, to be honest. You can see right there on the fuselage too, the paint's kind of tarnished. But still, really happy to have this, especially considering I've been on a fair number of these back in the day. This exact, plane livery combination. Flew on these a lot. I believe I flew it once to Honolulu. I definitely remember that flight, and then flew it quite a few times between Chicago, London, London, Chicago as a little kid, on my way to Pakistan, on my way back from Pakistan. Back when the Middle Eastern airlines were not big here in the US, I'm talking like 2006, 7, 8, 2009. We didn't have, Chicago, we didn't have Emirates or Qatar Airways or whatever. We had Turkish, I think, and then Etihad came in 2009, but it was much more expensive to fly one stop to Pakistan than it was to fly what we did, which was fly American Airlines to London, and then Emirates from London to Dubai, and then Dubai to Karachi, and then the opposite routing on the way back. So that was really interesting. American and Emirates never had a code share, so somehow we were able to get both airlines on one ticket, or not one ticket, but one itinerary. We'd have to recheck in London for Emirates or on the way back for American and pass through security and all that. It was a big hassle. I remember it took a lot of time, but those are the memories, man. I get to not relive them, but this model kind of represents that. So, and that was, by the way, back when American did that horrible 252 configuration and economy. I remember sitting in the exact middle one time, but I was a little kid, didn't really matter. But yeah, beautiful. I'm really happy to have this. And fun fact, I actually had this exact same model, not the exact plane, but the same like product. I had this in 2011. I bought it and it had a loose stabilizer from the hobby shop I bought it from, Greyland Station in Chicago. I think it was the left stabilizer, it was broken. And me, because I was so smart, I was 8 years old at the time, I bought some super glue and I tried fixing it in the car at nighttime when we were driving. Why I did that, I don't know, but as I was fixing it, some of the super glue like smeared all over the back of the plane, just ruined it. So that model I ended up getting rid of like a year later, but it's good to have it back. Not the exact plane, thankfully, but you know, the same product, so it's good to have it back. Okay, moving on, some 787s here. Got two 787-8s by Gemini Jets. It's the same plane, 802 AN. Here's a 787-9 by Gemini Jets, 825, and then the NG models, 787-9, 832. And then some 737s here. I have seven. Oh, I didn't think I had that. Wow, 6 of them. Or no, 7, sorry. We have a 737 MAX by Gemini Jets, 737-800 by Gemini Jets. My grandmother and my aunt actually flew this exact plane, 971 AN. They visited us in November. So they actually flew this from Chicago to LaGuardia, which is so random, but they did. And then we have the One World livery, 737-800, November 837, November. That's a 2018 release, I think. This is 2015, and that's like 2021 or something. Here's a weird one. This is the 737-800 by Witty Wings, or Apollo, that's the company's name. I got this one instead of the Gemini Jets version. This is a 2013 release. So this is one of the more obscure companies I have in my collection. I have, I think, I have another model from Apollo in my collection you'll see later on, the Turkish 777. I also have a Turkish 739, which I'm selling, so that's not included in this video, but yeah, you can see the paint on that too. It's so sparkly. It's weird, but yeah, interesting plane, that one. And here's my newest American Airlines plane. This is the NG models 737-800, 306NY with the updated Eagle winglets. As you can see, it's got the Eagle logo on the outside and the inside. So yeah, beautiful plane, that one. And then moving on, another Gemini Jets. This is the 737-800 in the retro livery, the chrome retro livery. And this one is an aircraft that I've been on in real life as well, on November 921, and then I flew this from Chicago to LaGuardia in 2014, before it was considered the retro livery. So really happy to have this model. I was really happy it became the retro. So yeah, I flew that one as well in real life, which is really cool. Next up is another retro, the Astrojet 737-800, the updated one. They used to have a different 738, which was the Astrojet in November 951 Alpha Alpha. That plane got repainted for some reason, and then they made this one the new Astrojet 905 November. All right. Another plane that I love very much, I grew up with this, of course, as did many other people, American Airlines MD-83. This is a 2019 or 2018 release, I can't remember, but yeah, that's the only one that I have. Would love to get this in 1-200 someday, because it's such a legendary plane that I flew a lot in my childhood. And here's the 757-200. This is a 2014 release. It doesn't have any landing gear anymore because I used it to fix up another 757 of mine, one of the Deltas back there. So I use this primarily as a display model on the stand, along with the 777 here. I don't have the stand right now because I just wanted to put all the models on the same level. But normally that model is a display. And then over here, another plane that I've been on in real life, 757-200. I think it's a 2008 release or something like that. Chrome livery. This is 601 Alpha November. I flew this plane from Dallas to Seattle in 2013, which is really cool. And the funny thing is, this next one right here, this NG 757, this is NG model 757-200, registration 691 Alpha Alpha. I thought I had flown this plane, by the way. This whole time, I thought it was this plane that I flew on. It ended up being this one, if you get what I mean. So the thing is, American Airlines, let me tell you a story. American Airlines and a bunch of airlines, they have these little three-letter, it's like a number and letter, three-letter codes that they can designate each airplane by. Besides the registration, they have those three-letter codes you can see underneath the registration there. So each plane has a unique registration number, and they also have a unique fleet number, that little three-letter code there. So 691, the plane you see here, the fleet number is 5DJ, and 601, the plane you see there, the fleet number is 5DU. So basically, when we were boarding this plane in Dallas, I misread the fleet number 5DU. I misread it as 5DJ, because a U, if you look at the letter U, half of a U is a J, basically. It's two J's put together, but if you get what I mean, I don't know what I'm saying, but
I confused 5DU for 5DJ. So this whole time, for like 8 something years, I thought it was this plane that I flew on, and I've seen it many times after, but it ended up being this one, 5DU. And the reason I found out is because there's a website where you can look back on your old domestic flights in the US. You can look up the date, and it'll tell you the tail number and the flight number. So I looked at the date I flew that flight from DFW to Seattle, and it was 601 the entire time, wasn't this one. So it's funny how I have both models of those planes. It's so random, but yeah, hopefully you get the story. Next up, American A321 by Gemini Jets. This one has a defect. As you can see, it's missing the R2 door. Not sure how that happens, but yeah. And we have 2 retro A319s. They used to be US Airways, but I customized them with the American logo. I got PSA A319 there, and I have the Allegheny Vista Jet 319 here. All right, moving into American Eagle, the regional jets. I have 2 Embraer 175s by Gemini Jets. I have the Republic 1 416 here, and the Envoy 1 233 here. Here's an Envoy E170. This is the retro livery by Gemini Jets. Beautiful plane. Then we have 2 Embraer 145s. I have the Piedmont November 603 KC here, and then the Envoy 1928 here. And I got 2 CRJ 700s. I have the SkyWest House livery, and I have the American Eagle Envoy CRJ 700 there. And last for American Airlines, CRJ 900 by PSA. That's one of my favorite planes. I don't even know why. It's just such a cool plane. All right, that is American Airlines. Took 12 minutes. Sorry about that. Let's move on to United. All right, so United Airlines is the biggest airline represented in my collection with, I think it was 36 planes, 34 1/400 scale, and the remaining 2 are 1/200 scale that you'll see later in the video. So yeah, overall the collection that I have, most of them is of planes that I've both seen in real life, flown in real life, and models that have some special connection to me. And like I said, if any of the models have some sort of connection, special connection, I'll be sure to mention those as we move along. So I'll start here with United. Gemini Jets 777-300ER. I think it was like a 2021 release in the new livery. 777-200 non-ER by Gemini Jets. This one is a 2020, I think, release. It's got a crooked engine as well. You can't tell, but that engine is pointed or slanted upwards. It still annoys me to this day. So yeah, that's the non-ER. Right here's the NG models. 777-200ER Star Alliance livery. This plane I actually flew on in real life as well, in business class from Chicago to Denver in 2021. I have the exact same plane in 1/200 scale that you'll see at the end of the video. So yeah, that one I have been on in real life, which is really cool. And then I have 2 777-200ERs in the older livery by Gemini Jets. They're the exact same registration, but they're 2 different releases. So this one here is the 2016 release, and then this one I think was the 2019 release. Why they did the same exact plane in 2 different releases, I don't know, but that's how that played out. Next up is the 787-10 by Gemini. Got the 787-9 by Gemini, and then we have the 787-8 by Gemini. Oh, sorry, the 789 is by NG, sorry. And then this 788 is by Gemini Jets in the old livery. All right, we got a 737 MAX 8 there by Gemini Jets. Sorry. If you can tell, the lenses are kind of spazzing out. I'm just trying to get used to the 14 Pro with this camera and everything. So sorry about that. Next is the NG 737-900ER in the Continental Retro livery. Beautiful plane, that one. Gemini Jet 737-900ER, 2014 release. I have the NG models 737-900ER in the new livery. And then some more NG models here, 757-200 in the old livery. 757-200 Star Alliance. I was about to say Sky Team. I'm so dumb. But 757-200 Sky Team. Star Alliance, sorry. And then 757-200 new livery here. And then 757-300 new livery by Gemini Jets. I had been wanting a 753 for a very, very long time. And thankfully, Gemini Jets released this in 2022. I was able to get one of these. And then I have 2 767-300s. Sorry about the camera there again. I have the old livery 763 by Gemini, and then the new livery 763 by Gemini. So I just want to mention real quick, I have every single plane in the United mainline fleet except for the 767-400. So everything else I have, I just don't have a 767-400, which is kind of hard to find, but maybe I'll be able to add it sometime soon. But yeah, I have every single United mainline aircraft in the fleet. I'm missing a bunch of regional jets, of course, I think. Or maybe I have them all too. Well, you'll see them eventually as we move along. So next up, here's a Continental 738, which I just included with United, but that one is no landing gear. So I keep it on the shelf, really. That's by Gemini Jets. United 737-800, new livery by Gemini Jets. Here's the old livery 800 by Gemini Jets. We have a 737-700 by NG Models in the new livery, and then the old livery 700 by NG. United A319 Aero Classics. This is the oldest one on the table, I think, for United. I got this back in 2012, so it is kind of damaged. We have the A319 new livery by Gemini Jets. We have the A320 in the Friendship Stars and Bars retro livery, Gemini Jets, and then we have the A320 old livery by Gemini Jets. Moving into the regional jets, we have the Embraer 175 in the new livery by Gemini, and we have the Embraer 170 in the old livery by Herpa Wings. CRJ 550 Gemini Jets, two CRJ 700s by Gemini Jets, and then a CRJ 200 by Gemini Jets. So yeah, I have basically the entire United fleet now that I'm looking at this. I'm missing the 767-400 for the main line, and then I'm also missing, I'm missing the MAX 9, never mind. That's another plane I'm missing. And then I'm also missing the, I think for regional jets, I'm missing one. I had it. I just forgot which one it was that I'm missing. Maybe I'll remember it later on. Oh boy. Oh, the Embraer 145. Yeah, that's the one that I'm missing for regional jets. But yeah, aside from that, I have basically the entire United fleet, which is pretty cool. All right, moving into Hawaiian Airlines, still with the U.S. here. We have two A330s here, A330-200s by Gemini Jets. This is the new livery, and this is the old livery. And again, I don't know why Gemini does this, and I don't know why my phone is doing that. Sorry. This is the exact same plane once again. This is as you can see, November 388 Hotel Alpha, 388 Hotel Alpha. Why did they make the same exact plane twice? I don't know, but it's really annoying. Anyway, here's my other two Hawaiians, 717 old livery and the one in the new livery. So yeah, very special ones, these Hawaiian models. I would like to get a 767 at some point, as I've actually been on the 767. I've never been on the A330 actually. And one of my first flights, I think my first ever flight, was from Honolulu to somewhere. I think it was the Big Island on the 717 old livery. So because I was born in Honolulu, for those that don't know, so my Hawaiian planes are very special to me. So I would like to eventually get like a 767 or one of the, like a 1/200 scale Hawaiian plane. Be very cool. All right, let's get Canada real quick. I have Canada just back here. I have the Air Canada 330-300 by NG Models in the old toothpaste livery. Air Canada Embraer 175 by Gemini Jets, CRJ 900 by Gemini Jets, and the A220-300 by Gemini Jets. And then last Canadian plane here, WestJet 737-700 by Gemini Jets. All right, moving on. Spirit, I got four. A319 here by Gemini, A320neo, 321, both by Gemini Jets, and then the 321 by NG. And let's move over here to Alaska. I got two. I have the One World 737-900ER and the standard livery 737-900ER, both are by NG Models. Breeze Airways, Embraer 195 by Gemini Jets, and then JetBlue E190 Gemini, A320 with sharklets by Gemini, and I have this A321, which is relatively new. I got it a few months back. That's by NG Models. All right, let's move on to Allegiant over here. I have MD-83, A320 old livery, A320 new livery, all by Gemini. Frontier, I got two of them, A320neo and then 321, both by Gemini Jets. All right, Southwest, 737-700 Canyon Blue by NG, 700 by Gemini Jets in the new livery. This one never stays down. It's very tail heavy. It's one of my least favorite models, to be honest. 737-700 with the new livery by Panda Models. The 737-800 by NG, and then the 737 MAX 8 by Gemini Jets. All right, let's go on. Before I forget Delta, let's do those real quick. We have CRJ 200, CRJ 700, and a CRJ 900 A220-100, A220-300, MD-90, all of them that I've just mentioned are by Gemini jets. We have the A321 in the thank you livery, A321 standard livery, 737-900ER, all those are by NG models. And let me actually move over here so I can get closer up to the 75s here. So I have a 757-200 here without winglets, 757-200, 757-300, and a newer 757-300. So these are all by Gemini jets. The funny thing is, you might remember this particular plane, the 752, it's always had winglets. Why is it doing that? Sorry. This 757 had winglets originally, but this 753, I bought this in like September. This one I have flown on in real life, 591 NW. I flew this back in August of 2022 from St. Louis to Atlanta. So that was a really fun flight. It was supposed to be a 752, but the night before we got upgauged to a 753. So that was my first flight ever on a 757-300. So when I found out there was a model of it, of course I had to buy it, spent like $80 on this model, but it was worth it. This model, of course, came without winglets. This was an older plane, older release. So it was made without winglets. As such, that's how I bought it. But I wanted to make it as realistic as possible. Of course, Delta has all 757-300s with winglets now, but they do still have some 752s without winglets. So what I did was that I switched out the wing cradle piece of this model with this model. So yeah, so these wings used to be on this model, and these used to be on that model. So I switched them out. Unfortunately, in the process, this model, the landing gear broke on it. So you can't tell, but I had to do some plastic surgery, or a transplant. That's the correct terminology. I did a transplant with the landing gear. I took them off that 7.5 back there, the American. That's now without wheels. It's a display plane now. So I stole the wheels off that one, the landing gear, and glued them onto this one. The nose gear was fine though, thankfully, but the main landing gear were broken, so I had to fix it. So it was a big headache, but it worked out in the end. And I finally have a 7.5 without winglets now. And funny enough, all the 757-200s from Delta that I've flown on, they've all been without winglets. I have yet to fly a Delta 752 with winglets, but I am supposed to fly 2 of them this weekend. So maybe one of them will have winglets, or both of them will have winglets, we'll see. But yeah, that was my Delta fleet. Delta, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, is the 5th biggest airline in my collection with 14 planes. 13 1/400 scale and 1 1/150 scale that you'll see at the end of the video. Okay, and then I think, or no, we still got a few US planes, but here's my 4 US 747s, Kalitta Air 747-400 here by Gemini. Originally it was a Delta 747 I bought back in 2012, but a long story short, it's Kalitta now. It's a custom model that I updated compared to last time you saw it. I redid the decals late or sometime last summer, so it's a bit more vibrant now. And then moving on, we have the National 747-400 by Gemini Jets, Atlas Air 747-400 by Gemini Jets, freighter. That's a freighter too. This is the interactive series. It's the only interactive Gemini Jets interactive series that I have. I don't plan on getting any more because this thing is so annoying. Look how easily that comes out. So yeah, but it is still a very special model to me. I was able to go inside one of these last week at Rockford, or no, not the week before, I think. So I've never been inside a 747 or any quad jet before, but I was able to get inside one of these, get a tour of the Atlas 747, one of them when it was parked at Rockford before it departed. So I was able to go in through this door here. The entire cargo hold was empty, so I was able to see it all, and I was able to also go upstairs to the crew rest area in the cockpit. I wasn't able to get any pictures because I was so busy, just get with the tour, and I also wanted to be a bit respectful too. I didn't want to intrude or whatever. But yeah, my first ever time on a 747, it was Atlas Air, so this model will forever be special to me. And oh yeah, this one is the reason why this United is not with the other ones is because as I was setting the planes up, I completely forgot I had this, because the thing is, this 747, the KLM, and the British Airways back there, those 3 I have elsewhere. They're not displayed with the other planes. I have them on a separate shelf. Just 3 747s I just have displayed elsewhere. So I completely forgot about this, and then as I was setting these up, I realized I had that, so I put it here.
But the thing is, it still worked out though, because these are all my 4 US 747s, American 747s. So it still kind of worked out, which is cool.
So yeah, United 747-400 by Gemini Jets, and I think this one is 105 UA. Yeah, 105 UA. This is the one that operated the last United 747 scheduled flight into Chicago. I think it was Seoul, or not Seoul, Tokyo, Narita to Chicago. I think it was back in 2015, or 2017. Sorry, that was the last ever scheduled passenger service of the 744 to O'Hare. Special plane. So yeah, next sun country, only one plane. It's a 738 by NG Models, and I have some cargo aircraft. Cargo here. FedEx 757-200 by Gemini Jets. UPS used to be one of the bigger airlines in my collection, but the fleet has downsized a bit. I am selling a few of my UPS models, but then again, I will mention all the models I'm selling in a different video. Here's 757-200 by Gemini, A300 by Aero Classics, 767-300, 2 of them by Gemini Jets, and then back there is the MD-11 also by Gemini Jets.
All right, let me get over to the other side and get the other planes real quick.
So just following the UPS MD-11, I have 2 smaller planes here. I have a Saab 340 and a Shorts 360. Both of them are unmarked. The Saab 340 was originally WestJet Connect, and the Shorts 360 was originally Allegheny Commuter. Both of them I took the logos off just because I wanted to use them for my St. Thomas model airport, and neither of those airlines fly or ever flew to St. Thomas, so that's why I took the logos off. But those are both by Gemini Jets, and I just keep them with my US fleet because why not, I guess. Moving into Central America, we're out of North America now for 1-400, or the US, I guess, or North America, Canada as well. Sorry, Central America, starting off with Volaris A320neo by Gemini, and the Aeromexico 737-800 by NG Models. Of course, both of these are from Mexico. And then Panama, Copa Airlines 737-800 by NG Models. Iceland, we're now into Europe now. We're now fully out of North and Central America. I don't have any South American models, unfortunately. So I would like to get Avianca or Latam at some point, but we'll see about that. Icelander, I got 4, like I said, 757-300 in the 100 Years of Independence livery, I believe that is. That's by Gemini Jets. Beautiful 757-200 in the Vatnajökull livery, the 80 Years of Aviation. That's by NG Models. The also beautiful Hecla Aurora 757-200 by Gemini Jets. This model, this exact plane in real life, unfortunately, is stored. It's not flying anymore. I don't know if they'll be retiring it, but I really hope they don't. Beautiful plane it is. And yeah, I actually got this model in Honolulu, of all places. I got it at the airport, along with the Hawaiian old livery 330 you see back there. I got that one and this Icelander 75 at Honolulu Airport. So, very random fact. And then here's the standard livery 757-200 by NG Models. Beautiful model, that one's very, very nice. And then I hope to get a 737 MAX for Icelander soon, because that's what they're flying to O'Hare currently. So we'll see when I can get one of those. You'll definitely see it hopefully in the next collection update video at the end of the year. Moving on, this is technically 3 countries, Norway, Sweden, and Denmark. I don't have Finnair. That's another airline I'm hoping to add soon. But SAS, I have 2. We have the A330-300 here, beautiful, old livery, and the A350-900, both are by NG Models. Alright, so we are officially now in Europe. British Airways, we have the 787-8 by Gemini Jets, 777-200ER, and the 777-300ER, and the beautiful One World 747-400, all of those are by Gemini Jets. Next up, Virgin Atlantic 787-9 by Phoenix. We have the Iberia A350-900 by NG. TAP Portugal A330-900 Neo by JC Wings. Lot Polish 787-8 in the Polish Polish Olympic team livery by Phoenix. And then the Swiss A330-300 by Phoenix as well. So for British Airways, I'm hoping to get the A380. That's really the only one that I'm definitely planning to get soon. I might end up getting a 787-10 and A350-1000 sometime later on, because they fly everything to Chicago these days. At some point, they were flying the Dash 8 last year. 777-200 and 300 were also here. And then, of course, we got the 744 daily before they were retired. But yeah, by the next video you'll definitely see the 380 hopefully, and then you'll also see it sooner and some airport updates coming out. All right, more on Europe. We have Lufthansa here, which is another airline I have quite a lot of, mainly because of how much they fly to Chicago with the aircraft and everything. And all my Lufthansas all but one of them are Gemini jets. I have one JC wings. But here's the 747-8 in the new livery by Gemini. A340-600 by Gemini in the new livery. Really happy to see that these are all coming back. I think it's all 10 of them are coming back into service. They have 5 in service right now, and then 5 more coming back into service. And they're going to be flying to O'Hare too, so I really can't wait to see one of those. Okay, Lufthansa A350-900 new livery Gemini jets. A340-300 in the Star Alliance livery by JC Wings, and then the A330-300 in the new livery, old livery by Gemini jets. Yep. And now we got Turkish Airlines here with the 4. We have the A330-200 by Phoenix, A330-300 by Phoenix, 7879 by Gemini jets, and 777-300ER by Apollo. It's my second Apollo model. Like I mentioned with that American, where is it? Yeah, that one right there. So this company, it's Apollo, aka Witty Wings. They no longer exist. I believe they were bought out by somebody or they went out of business. So yeah, very obscure model company. And then I have one other Apollo model. It's the Turkish 739, but I am going to be selling that one, so it is not in this video. All right. I hope we can get the KLMs here. So I have 3 KLM models, 747-400 here by Phoenix. This one is a really nice one. Of course, the reason why I bought this is because it's named after the city of Karachi. So that's why I have that. And then I have the 777-300ER by Gemini jets. Okay, yeah, I think this is a much better place to start filming from. But yeah, here's the 747. It's got the Powered by Biofuel livery. I forgot to mention that. Or a sticker, I should say. This, like I was saying, the 777-300ER by Gemini jets. Old model, 2008 release. I got this in 2011, so I think this is the oldest 400 scale model I have on this table. So in the previous collection update you might have seen last year, this one didn't have any landing gear. Or maybe it did. It didn't have a nose gear. But I was able to get a spare nose gear. NG models, nose gear. So it is kind of, the 777 is kind of small. This particular plane is kind of short. I don't know if you can tell. But hey, I was able to fix it though fully. It used to just not have a nose gear. It would just sit slanted downward. But I was able to fix it up, and I'm really happy with the fact that I was able to do that. So unfortunately, all the 777s are repainted now in the new livery, which is why I got this one. The NG models, 777-300ER in the new liveries. This is a very recent one I got a few months back. So that's KLM for you. I might get a 787. I don't know. I don't really have a big desire to get the 787. If I do get one, it'll most likely be the Dash 10 because that's the one that's more available. The Dash 9 is kind of impossible to find. So yeah. Only airline that I have from the entire continent of Africa, Ethiopian Airlines. It's just a one plane, 777-200 LR by Gemini jets. I'm gonna see if I can get the 787-9 sometime by NG, because that's what they actually fly to Chicago. The 777-200 LR doesn't fly to Chicago at all. Very, very rarely. Mostly it goes to like Dulles and stuff like that, and not even the US for that matter. But yeah, for now I have this. Maybe I'll get a 787 at some point. Okay, I think we're out of Europe and yeah, Africa we're done, Europe is done. Now we're into Asia. Start off with the Middle East. We've got Saudi Arabia in here. 2 777-300ERs. I have the 300ER, the old livery, and the updated livery here. Both are by Phoenix models. I'm planning to eventually get an A330 because they're flying those to Karachi every day now, so I kind of have to get one. So we'll see when that happens. Okay, out of Saudi now we have Jordan, Royal Jordanian 787-8, and then we have the Oman Air 737-800 by Phoenix. That's by Gemini Jets, if I didn't mention that. So Oman, Jordan. Now we have Bahrain. This terrible custom model Gulf Air A321. Originally it was a US Airways 321 by Gemini Jets. Gulf Air A330-200 in the Bahrain Grand Prix livery by Phoenix. And then the Gulf Air 787-9 by Phoenix. Alright, Bahrain is done. Now we're into the UAE, United Arab Emirates, which I believe was the 4th biggest country represented by my collection. I think it was, right? what I mentioned at the beginning of the video. So starting off UAE, we have Air Arabia here, A320 by Gemini. Fly Dubai 737 MAX 8 by Gemini. Etihad Airways A321 by Phoenix. This one I flew on in real life as well. This is registration A6AEA. I doubt it's going to want to focus. Oh, there we go. A6AEA, flew this from Islamabad to Abu Dhabi in 2016. That plane no longer flies for Etihad. They retired it or gave it back to the lessor or something like that. So ironically, it's the only one they retired. I think they have all the other 321s, but this particular plane Etihad no longer has. So but I flew that one, so that's the reason why I bought it. 7879 by Phoenix, 787-10 by Gemini Jets, 777-300ER old livery by Dragon Wings, and the 777-300ER new livery by Aviation 400. And this one I also have flown on, A6 ETH. This one I flew in 2016 as well, from Abu Dhabi to Chicago. So the funny thing is, I flew the 321 first on my first leg, and then we connected onto this plane, A6 ETH, from Abu Dhabi to Chicago. So it's kind of really cool to have both models. You know, I flew those two exact planes in real life, so really nice. And this model is a big meme, like I've always said. Etihad A340-600 in the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, Formula 1 Grand Prix livery 09. By Herpa Wings 1400, I bought this at Abu Dhabi Airport. Waste of money. It's broken. It was broken when I bought it. It just progressively kept on breaking. So yeah, yeah. But it's good to have it. It reminds me of when I spent $60 to buy that. I don't even know why I did, but I did. Anyway, moving on to Emirates, I have three. So we have the 777-200LR by Gemini Jets, 777-300ER by Gemini Jets, and the A380 by Gemini Jets. And then moving into Qatar now, these are the only two A380s I have in my collection, as you can see here. But as I said, I'm planning to get the British Airways one soon. Qatar Airways, I think they are the fourth biggest airline in my collection, I think, right? And then Qatar itself is the third biggest country represented in my collection. So we have 380 here by Phoenix, A330-300 by Phoenix, A350-1000 by Aviation 400. I have three A350-900s here. I have two from NG. This one is by NG. This is by Phoenix. And the One World is also by NG. And I have a bunch of 777s. I have the 777-300ER here by Phoenix, One World livery. And the other One World, this is a more recent model by NG Models. We have the leased 777-300ER. They have 6 of these now. This is in the all-white leased livery by NG Models. So the thing is with this, because of the A350 fuselage crisis, matter of fact, these three are all grounded in real life, those three A350s. Because of the aircraft shortage that Qatar Airways has been facing because of the A350 fuselage crisis, a bunch of 350s are grounded. They've been having to both bring back older planes, like the 330s and the 380s. So 380s they were retiring because of the pandemic, but they brought them back. 330s were old, so they were retiring them anyway, but they brought them back. And then they also leased a bunch of planes from Cathay Pacific and Oman Air. So Cathay, they got 5 777-300ERs. They've painted all of them in this like white livery, and then they just got another one from Virgin Australia that's also in this white livery. And they also have a 777-200LR that was previously returned to the lessor that they brought back into service as well. That also wears a white livery like this. So yeah, they also released like the other one. They have this livery, and then they have like the retro. It's an unofficial retro livery. It has the smaller Qatar Airways writing at the top. NG Models in Phoenix also released that. I'm not gonna buy that. It's just a waste of space. But speaking of retros, we have this beauty right here. Phoenix 777. Well, the model itself the mold is terrible, but the livery is beautiful. Phoenix 777-300ER in the retro livery, 25 years of, well, it's got the 25 years of excellence sticker on the engines. But yeah, this plane I also have flown on in real life, A7 BAC. I flew this in 2013 from Chicago to Doha. This was the first ever Qatar Airways plane that I flew. And of course, that was back when it wore this livery, the standard livery, before it was considered the retro, but the exact plane tail number I have been on. The mold is not good at all. You can't tell, but maybe you can. You can kind of see how it just bends to one side. You can see the slanted angle of the wings. It's not very good. So if NG Models ends up releasing this plane, I will sell this Phoenix one and get the NG one. And I really hope they don't repaint this. If they repaint it, then forget it. I'll keep it. But it is such a nice looking plane. I love this livery. This is what you call a retro livery. So Qatar Airways, beautiful job on it. I'm not saying that because I've actually flown the exact plane, but it's a very, very nice retro livery. This is the same livery they had on the 727s and 747s back in the day. So would love to see it in real life. Hopefully someday in O'Hare or elsewhere. Next up, I have two more 333s. I have this Phoenix one, A7 BEM, and I have the NG version. This is my newest one I got back in like September, A7 BED. All right, they just keep releasing Qatar Airways planes, man, which is cool, but the ones that they've been releasing have just been World Cup, and they're gonna get repainted anyway, so stop doing it, man. For Qatar Airways, we're not done, sorry. 777-200LR by Phoenix here. This one has the 100th aircraft sticker, which it no longer has. Actually, this particular plane is it's the World Cup one. It's got the big World Cup paint on the back, A7 BBI, but it's gonna get repainted back into standard colors anyway. So fun fact there. It doesn't have the 100th aircraft sticker though, sadly, which I wish they kept. And last Qatar Airways plane is the 7879 by Phoenix. Random model I picked up one day. So yeah, Qatar Airways takes up this entire row. For future models, I don't know why I have this many Qatar Airways planes. Just stay tuned. I'm planning to do a Doha Airport update at some point. Hopefully soon I can get the 320 or something, like a narrow body. That's the main thing that I'm missing from the fleet. But Qatar Airways, we got them. All right, let's go backwards here. I'm here anyway, so we're into South Asia now. We're out of the Middle East. So, well, actually Iran is technically Middle East, but whatever. Air India is my only Indian. Sorry, the camera switched again. Air India 777-300ER by Prairie Wings or Prairie Models. It's like I don't know if I forgot the company's name. It's like a collaboration with JC Wings. But yeah, that's 777-300ER. Beautiful livery, beautiful model. I love Air India's livery. Really hope to see them more often. I see them a lot in Chicago whenever I have like an early morning flight. So it's nice to have this finally. I got this like a long time ago though, but it's nice to have it. That's my only Indian aircraft or airline. Would like to get maybe like an Indigo or something like that soon, but I'm not sure if I will. Anyway, Iran Air A300, back to the Middle East for a short period. A300 by Aero Classics, and we're back into South Asia with Pakistan, which is the second biggest country represented in my collection, and PIA is the third biggest airline in my collection. So I have two ATRs here, ATR 42 by JC Wings, ATR 72 also by JC Wings. Originally was Iran Air, but I customized it to PIA. This is a JC Wings blank A321, which eventually I plan to make it air blue, but it's just sitting here. Next up, Serene Air 737-800. Originally was a Virgin Samoa 738, but I customized it. It's a Phoenix model, custom into Serene Air. Two RCL 320s by Aero Classics. One of them, I forgot which one it was. I think it was, wait, which one? Okay, I think it was this one. Was originally Air New Zealand. This one was Air Callan. Customized them in AirCL. Air Blue A320s here. This one's by Gemini Jets. Originally was a Sabina. It's now Air Blue. And this was a blank A320 by Dragon Wings. Now Air Blue. Now into PIA. Five 320s. Wow. This 320 Dragon Wings blank model, which I customed into PIA. This one, Gemini Jets, used to be Ansett Australia, customed into PIA. Same with this one. It was the exact same plane too. I just bought duplicates. This is the retro livery. This is what it was supposed to be, and this is what it turned out to be. So this is supposed to be the exact same plane. This is my custom job on it, and this is the actual plane that I ended up buying last year by Aero Classics. So yeah, retro livery 320 by Aero Classics, and here's the other retro livery 320 by Aero Classics. And here's the retro livery 777-200ER by JC Wings. Ironically, these are the exact same. They're supposed to be the exact same thing. They're all 1960s retro, but PIA is very inconsistent. I think this one is the correct one. If you look back at PIA planes back in the 60s and 70s, the 707s and whatnot, delivery more matches this one than the other ones. This one kind of, but I think this one is the most accurate. This one, I don't know what they were doing. It's like they bolded the font for whatever reason. So that one's beautiful, but the livery is not really the exact replica of the actual retro 1960s livery, if you get what I mean. So, yeah. Sorry, I'm out of breath. I'm talking way too much in this video. This is like my eye candy. I'm not even lying. I think I've done like 100 or 50. It feels like 100 takes I've done for this video. I just keep messing up. I'm a big perfectionist, so it's taken me a long time to get through this video. So I apologize for that if I sound a bit tired. But PIA next up, two 777-200ERs by Phoenix. Which one is my newer one? I think this is my newer one. This is my 2016. Well, they're both the same model, but this one I bought in 2016. This one is the older one I bought in 2013. Next, the Dragon Wings 777-200LR. It was originally in the 2004 livery that you'll see later in the video, but I customized it to the updated 2010 livery. Oh, you didn't see this one last year. This model I was on the hunt for the longest time, and I was able to find it on Waffle Collectibles late in the summer of last year. Finally, the 777-300ER by Phoenix in the 2010-2011 livery. Been wanting this one for such a long time, and I was able to finally get it added to the collection. Even though I had it before in 2011, got rid of it, and then I bought it the exact same, not the exact same, but the model back in last year. So I'm really happy to finally have that. The PIA fleet is pretty much complete now. And then there's the other one, the Euro White 777-300ER that I got back in 2019. These are both by Phoenix. All right, Sri Lankan Airlines, still in South Asia. We have the A320neo by Aero Classics, and then the A330-200 in the One World livery by NG Models. Moving into Malaysia now. Sorry if you can't see, I'm good. There's a 737-800 here, and the A330-300 that I bought from the Airliners convention in Chicago this past summer, back in 2022, and they're both by NG. The funny thing about the Malaysia one, the 330, is that it's in the Negaraku livery, the beautiful flag livery. Originally, it was supposed to be like a special livery, so like a few planes had this, and then for some reason they've repainted like almost the entire fleet with this livery. So it's more of a updated livery for Malaysia than it is a special, which is good because this should be their standard livery compared to that. You know, this should probably be their standard livery because it has a more Malaysian feel to it. I really like the flag incorporated into it. It's beautiful. Okay. Wow, it's crazy. All right, how am I gonna get the rest of them? I don't want to. Okay, that's fine. Philippine A330-300, you can kind of see there by Phoenix. Originally it was a Sri Lankan, then it became PIA Premier, then it became Philippines, then it became Air Europa, then it became something else. I don't know. But I decided this past summer to remake it into Philippine Airlines for my Doha airport if I end up doing Doha, or Honolulu if I end up in the unlikely chance of me bringing back Honolulu. But yeah, so that's Philippine Airlines. The wings, as you can see, the wings are actually decals, the colors you see there. So what I did was, I believe I took a picture or something of one of my models, and I was able to size it down, print out those decals, and just paste them on, because the wings were kind of messed up from previous custom projects. So let me actually pick it up and show you. Recustomized into Philippine Airlines last year. The tail is really nice. It's very nice. It pops out. The fuselage decals, yeah, I mean, what can I do? It's not the best. But the wings I'm really happy with as well. These are decals. They're not the factory painted versions. So you can kind of see the decals. You can kind of see the paper there. But yeah, so yeah, that's all decal work that I did. And then I think the winglets or the wingtips are supposed to be white on the inside, and the logo is on the outside. Unless I'm wrong. If the logo is actually on the inside, I'm probably not going to redo it, but I think the winglets are supposed to be white. In fact, I don't think they have the logo inside of them. Whatever. So yeah, Philippine Airlines, really happy to have that back. Philippine Airlines back in my collection. Cathay Pacific, moving on now. We have this A330-300, which is actually Cathay Dragon. That's by Aviation 400. And then we have the 777-300ER by JC Wings. So Cathay Dragon, of course, no longer exists. They went out of business during the pandemic, or they kind of got reintegrated back into Cathay Pacific. I guess that's a better way to describe it. Okay, so that's Hong Kong. Taiwan, barely visible here, with this EVA Air 777-300ER, the new livery by JC Wings. And I have a bunch of Japanese airlines. I have 2 Japan Airlines planes here, the NG model 7879, and this custom JC Wings 777-300ER by Japan Airlines, JC Wings. Okay, 2 more Japanese carriers, or planes, I should say. ANA 7879 by Phoenix with the 50th aircraft sticker that you can barely see there, or 50th 787 rather. And then the 777-300ER by Aviation 400, which unfortunately this particular plane is retired now, but they still have plenty of 333s to go around. And the last 1400 Korean Air 777-300ER by Gemini Jets. That's an old release, like 2010, maybe 2008. Older, definitely a much older plane. So, but I have that. So those are all the 1400s. Now moving into my bigger scale models, I have this 1/200 scale Hogan Wings 7878 in the Boeing House livery. It did have a stand, a wooden stand, but somehow the peg broke and it's stuck now in the stand hole. I still have the stand as well, but I don't want to. It's like I haven't even tried getting this out. I should probably do that, but aside from that, I don't want to glue this onto the stand because that means the model will be stuck on the stand, and I don't want that. So at this point, it's just gonna not have a stand and just sit like that. So that model I got from Seattle in 2013 from the Space Needle. So a bunch of these models that I have, some of them are souvenirs to remind me of, places I've been. I'll describe, especially these 1/200s, these bigger scale models. A lot of them I bought from elsewhere. And same with the 1/400s. Like some of them, like I said, I bought at other places, like the 340 over there I bought from Abu Dhabi Airport, the A330 and the Iceland Air back there bought from Honolulu, and then I don't remember anything else, but you get what I mean. Some of them are souvenirs, some of them are just because I flew it in real life. Every plane has some sort of meaning, I guess. Some of them don't, some of them I just have, but whatever. Okay, here 1/250 scale TWA Stratoliner, a Boeing 307. This is by Model Power. I actually bought this. This is one of the first models I ever got back in late 2010, 2011 from Karachi. I bought this at a model shop, quote unquote model shop in Karachi. So yeah, I had also a Swiss Air MD-11 and then a BEA de Havilland Comet. I had those 2 models as well, but I don't have them anymore, sadly. This is one of the older ones I have. As you can see, it's very old. It's missing some of the fan blades or propeller prop things, whatever blades. Old plane, that one. Speaking of Pakistan, I also got this in 2013. I got that in 2010, but this I got in 2013 from the Pakistan Air Force Museum in Karachi. They hand make these. They make them out of wood. They're very, very cool. Really epic models. I didn't get to go to the PAF Museum last time when I went last year. Hopefully, because stuff, COVID, all that stuff. You might know the story, but anyway, hopefully next when we go later this year, hopefully we'll get to go back to the museum. It's an epic place, man. The PAF Museum, must visit. And of course they have a gift shop where they make these handmade models. This right here is a JF-17 Thunder 82701. It is broken. As you can see, it's missing one of the missiles here and there. And it also came with a stand that would attach to the afterburner. It would be like a peg. So the model would actually sit like this. It was really epic, but the stand broke sadly a long time ago, so it just sits like that. And some of the decals are coming off too. Oh well. But yeah, really cool. They hand make these out of wood. You can kind of see the pilot in there. It's really cool how they make these. Hand make them in Pakistan, and then they make them in a nice little custom box. Would love to go back to the PAF Museum next time I'm in Pakistan. Would love to show you guys, make a proper video on it as well.
Here's another souvenir that I got from somewhere. British Airways 777-200ER by Premier Planes, 1/250 scale. Man, I don't know how it became like this. It was originally white, now it's whatever color this is. I don't know how it became like that. I don't remember leaving it out in the sun at all. But I got this from London when I went in 2011, and I also got a 757, 320, and 319. Those three I don't have anymore, but I also had those 1/250 scale models from when I went to London. Next up here is the Emirates 777-300ER by Gemini 200. Beautiful model. This one I got this summer of 2021, I think. I got it a while ago. But yeah, beautiful plane. I always think I'm gonna sell this, but I keep having second thoughts because I'd rather sell this and get like a Qatar 777 or an Etihad 777 1/200 scale, but I can't bring myself to sell it. It's such a nice
Looking plane. These Gemini 200s, man, they are something else.
So that's the Emirates. Oh, here down here is
A Qatar Airways 777-300ER by Herpa Wings 1/500 scale. Got this from Doha Airport in 2013, the old Doha Airport. It had landing gear. Long story short, they broke. Sorry about that. And this was originally in the old livery with the big fat oryx on the tail, but I customized it in 2015 to have the the FC Barcelona livery. As you can see, I did that myself, and the oryx on the tail, I did that myself as well. So yeah, I wish it had its, I don't know, somebody broke it. I didn't break it, but yeah, beautiful. I did this myself. I'm really happy with the FCB. It's not the best. It's kind of grainy, you can see, but
it came out pretty nicely back in 2015 when I did that.
So that's 1/500 scale. I got some PIAs here. I got this JC Wings 777-300ER PIA, like I said, beautiful model. And here's the 2004 PIA 777-200LR by Dragon Wings. The landing gear on this one were actually used to fix the KLM, the main landing gear. But the nose gear, of course, I still have the nose gear for that one, but it's just sitting in its box. So yeah, I bought this, intending to use the landing gear to fix the KLM and also to keep it as a display model. So this one just sits on the shelf as a display model. So it's a 200LR by Dragon Wings. And then here is another special plane to me, the Hogan Wings PIA 777-200ER with the Quetta Nature's Orchard tail, representing Balochistan province. So back in the day, PIA had these beautiful provincial tail schemes on most of their planes. Some of them had the little flag you see there, and then the vast majority of them had a unique, some of them had the same tails, but they had a wide range of these special tail art that they had across most of their fleet. 747s, 777s, A310s, 737-300s. Beautiful tails these were. But they were very expensive, like over $1 million it cost them to paint these per plane. So needless to say, when you're an airline like PIA that has financial issues, they had to stop doing it. So they repainted all of them, sadly. It was a beautiful, look at that. It's so beautiful the way they did the tail art. So yeah, and the reason why this model is special is I've been on this exact plane. We flew it from Karachi to Barcelona to Chicago in 2011. So I remember we boarded this plane in Karachi. For some reason, we boarded it from the apron, the tarmac, so to speak. So I remember we boarded through this door here, and I remember reading, I don't know how, I especially remember this, reading the Boeing 777-200ER. I still remember that. And then when we deboarded in Barcelona to re-clear security before coming to Chicago, of course it was daylight, so I remember seeing the tail and the Nature's Orchard writing. Yeah, I even though it was a long time ago, like 11 years ago, I still remember it. Not even 11 now, it's 12 years ago. Wow. But yeah, this plane still flies, of course, but it has this livery now. So APBHX, really happy to have this model. All right, so moving on. These are my two American Airlines planes I have in 1/200 scale. So right here is the Embraer 145 by Gemini 200. This is 603 KC. So this particular plane I also have in 1/400 scale, as you saw earlier. And then, of course, we have a 757-200 here by Gemini 200 as well. I don't even need to explain why I have these in 200 scale. 757, of course, 757, beautiful plane, legendary. And then the Embraer 145, of course, I grew up with, and these are slowly getting phased out. So it's just a reminder, you know, how many times I've been on this plane. Just had to get the 200 scale version of it. So, yep. Moving on. Some more U.S. legendary Air Force One. I mean, it's not called Air Force One like the plane. Only when the president's on board, it's called Air Force One. So, forget the stand. I don't know what I did with the stand there. Like 2011, I did that. I was a little kid. Forget about it. Same with that British Airways. Look at the stand over there. As a 7-year-old, I don't know how I knew all that. Like, that's insane. I don't know what I was as a 7-year-old, but yeah, this is the VC-25A, of course, the special 747-200, one of two for the U.S. government, especially carrying the president whenever he needs to travel, or he or she needs to travel. So I got this in 2011, I think. My dad got this for me from O'Hare Terminal 5. They used to have a shop there that would sell a bunch of stuff pre-security, and one of the only models they had was the 747, this particular plane. So it's a 1/250 scale Skymarks VC-25A. And this one is 29,000? Yeah, 29,000. That's the one. They have 29,000 and the other one is 28,000. So those are the two VC-25As they have in the fleet. Soon to eventually be replaced whenever that happens by the 747-8. But yeah, legendary plane. I saw this actually in O'Hare 2012. They had us in a ground. We had landed from LaGuardia, and they put us in a ground stop because President Obama was in town, and I saw Air Force One out the window, and I still will never forget that. Literally right after I see it, the pilot comes on and goes, "Hey, O'Hare's in a ground stop because the president's in town, and all the traffic is stopped now until he gets off Air Force One." It was is surreal seeing this. I'll never forget that. All right, Delta 1/150 scale 757-200 by Skymarks. This model I've mentioned in previous videos. Originally, the product line, it was made with winglets, but I don't know how. I bought this from Greyland Station, like the hobby shop in Chicago. I bought it. It came without winglets. I don't know how. You can see it's not even cut. The wings are perfectly normal. It doesn't show any evidence of them being like clipped or anything. So this is probably the only. I mentioned this before. I'll mention it again. I think this is the only Delta 757 model like this without winglets anywhere. I still have no idea how it came like this. I bought it like that. So I customized it, added my own overwing exits, rig 674DL, which is the one that I flew in 2021 from O'Hare to Atlanta. So there we go. And then last two, we got two United 777-200ERs. I got this Skymarks one, 1/200 scale in the older livery. Got this from New York City, the Red Caboose Hobby Shop in 2016. And last but not least, we have the Star Alliance 777-200ER by JC Wings. And like I mentioned with the NG version back there, it's the exact same plane. So that NG version and then this JC Wings version, these are both the exact same plane, November 77022. And as I mentioned earlier in the video, I have flown this exact plane from Chicago to Denver, business class 2021. So I was right here under this A, like right there. So yeah, really cool flight that was, and really happy to have both versions of it, 1/200 and 1/400. So yeah, I think this video is going to be longer than the last year's one, unfortunately. But anyway, hope you enjoyed this epic, super long video collection update for 2022. It was long, like I said, but hope you enjoyed watching. I hope you stuck with me throughout the video, even if it got boring or stuff like that. But yeah, crazy. Like I said, I'll plan to do these once every year at the end of each year. So you'll see the next one hopefully on December 31st of this year, or later at the end. And we'll see how much the collection has grown by then. And I hope I don't need much more space to do that video, but we'll see. And then, like I said at the many points in this video, there are a bunch of models I am selling. And stay tuned, I'll be announcing which ones I'll be selling. I'll announce it first on Instagram, and then I'll make a short video on YouTube to talk about which ones I'm selling and talk about that. So thank you all so much. Plenty of amazing videos coming out. I am supposed to be traveling this Friday, so expect videos to come from that trip. If it all goes to plan, you know, I'll be some pretty epic videos coming your way. So yeah, thank you all so much. A lot of stuff to come, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you thought. What was your favorite part? And if you can name all the countries that are represented in this video,
leave a comment below. I'll be very impressed if you can. I did the same thing last year, and a lot of people were able to do it. So impress me again. Show me what you got. If you can name all the countries repped in this video, it'd be nice to see what you guys can come up with. So yeah, that's it for today. Thanks so much for tuning in, sticking around till the end. Comment, subscribe, like, all that good stuff will really help me out. It gives me motivation to make more of these videos. And that's it. Thanks again. Take care, everybody. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.